I'm not saying I'm good at a lot of things, but one thing I'm great about being the back half in terms of getting these W's. So fans, I'm coming for you. Kenton is a little bit far out there, but when it comes to he said, she said, fan said, Tyler Van Yikes certainly helped your girl out.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Everybody, welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod on our YouTube page so you can join our community group where we talk to you and you certainly talk back to us. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. Kenton, what's up going on? Week 10.
You know, we're getting better at this thing. The fans are getting better at this thing. I'll tell you what, this race is going to be razor thin coming down the stretch because it's getting real tight right now. I'm listen, this thing is, you know, it's going to be a spider's baby hair that separates the winner and a loser here.
And, you know, I just want the fans to know, as much as they doubted me and my skill set, I'm doing all right. I'm making out like a bandit, and I'm okay with that. Week 10 brought everything you wanted and more. From Thursday to Saturday, it was full of some upsets, maybe some right-on-time games, and a couple of y'all thought we was gone, but here we are right here ready to go. As we look through week 10, we'll talk through he said, she said, fan said. If you don't know, all season we have been keeping a running tally, whether or not you pick each and every week your team to win or lose, or you think that your rival's going to have an upset. In our community page on YouTube, you can do a vote. So make sure you cast that in each and every week. Is week 11 already up, Kenton?
Week 11 will be up as soon as this. Actually, yes, it's already up. I just realized, yes, it's already up. I'm sorry.
Wonderful. So while fans are listening to this week 10, they can be voting for week 11. It's coming down to, like he said, a spider's baby hair. Yeah,
spider's baby hair. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know, they like to swoop the things to the side. You know, it's real slick like.
Well, I really want to get into the one game that was surprising for some, not for us, because we both picked NC State to win this bad boy. And yet Tyler Van Dyke didn't come up with a big, tough guy, walk that walk, talk that talk game. It was the last game of the evening, but Miami NC State was all NC State. And that defense, doggone it, Coach Gibson was doing what he needed to do.
Now, I was told that the whole one loss turns into two and two loss turns into three. Well, I was just hating Clemson because I didn't do the same thing for Carolina. The difference is Carolina had Campbell as their third game. Miami had Clemson as their third game. Now, Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, but out of that one loss turns into out of that 4-game stretch, what was Miami's record?
Now, why would you maybe?
I believe it was 1-3, correct? I believe it was 1-3, right? Because it was Georgia Tech, and then it was UNC, and then it was Clemson, and then it was NC State. So if my memory, I know my CT be kicking sometimes, right? I forgot my associate pastor name. I love the Cole family. They're wonderful people. I know they're going to be listening to this. I forgot my associate pastor's first lady's name. My memory sometimes, I got holes in it. But I'm pretty sure of those 4 games, in the one turned into two turn, they lost 3. And they only won 1 because the quarterback decided to pull it when there wasn't a read to be had. So long story short, everybody's talking about how this is a top 25 offense, top 25 defense. That's great. You ran it up against Bethune-Cookman. You ran it up against Temple. You ran it up against the Island of Misfit Toys. You ran it up against a Texas A&M squad that ain't beat nobody. That is currently trying real hard to work out some numbers to get an ACC coach, but y'all ain't hear that from me. I'm joking. But Texas A&M is getting rid of Jimbo, so I'm not sure if they're coming back to the ACC for another coach. But in all seriousness, all I got to say is one last thing. Tyler Van Yikes just threw another pick.
Well, getting shut out in the second half against this NC State defense, when you know this NC State offense can do just enough and decide to wake up in that fourth quarter, was certainly, exciting for the Pack, who are now bowl eligible, still have a lot of games left ahead of them in terms of where they will land. But just for, Coach Doran's sake, 78 wins.
78 wins, yeah.
78 wins as the Pack's head coach, and the one who really, I think Salty Dave is here to stay. He doesn't need to go anywhere. It's working for him.
As he should. I mean, I'm sorry, but I need that aggressive Dave. I need that get out the way and let a night cook Dave. I need that Dave in the building, because that offense had 5 second half yards before that 97-yard drive.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I struggle to not tell all you fans, particularly one fan that gives us a lot of grief on Twitter. You know who you are. We love you. We love you, brother. It's good sports debate. You know we love you. Did I not say that Mario Cristobal is too aggressive, and his aggressiveness is going to cost this team every time?
You did say that. You're
down 10-6 against an NC State team that offense has not pitched a drop all day. You have the momentum. You are in a position to take it down to a 1-point game with about 8 minutes left or so, and you go for it against a defense that is extremely stout, against the side of the ball that has all the stars, because let's make no bones about it. Aiden White, star. Peyton Wilson, star. Those guys are the big-time players. Honestly, Poogie Kennedy, star. Those are the guys that you don't need to be, messing around with. And instead of taking the 3 points and taking even more momentum, making the Wolfpack feel even more dejected, what do? You go for it on fourth and give them exactly what they need. Now they got momentum, and then they parlay that momentum into a 97-yard touchdown grab. You get what you get when Mario Cristobal is your head coach.
I mean, they're still 6-3 team, still bowl eligible, only 3 losses on the season. Miami isn't necessarily back, but they're definitely doing better than maybe we thought, meeting expectations.
I think that this is okay. Let's look at who their 6 wins came against. Okay,
it doesn't matter about who the wins came against. I'm just saying, are they meeting expectations based on the W's and the L's?
I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no, because this was a team that was supposed to be in contention for a conference championship, and they have a losing record in conference. No.
But I think everyone's been fighting in the conference, no divisions, all the things.
Yeah, no divisions, all the things, and they're still not good. They're still just not there. So, hey, again, I love to see a TVD, INT. The boy has more games of – actually, I'm sorry. He doesn't have a single conference game where he hasn't thrown multiple interceptions. So,
well, let's give it up one time for El Pacate.
Mm-hmm.
El Pacate de Lobos.
Yeah, let's give it up for him. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this. There was a game where Kobe Bryant went, I want to say it was like 3 for 20 or 3 for 26 or something like that, right? And the only 3 shots that he hit that night were all in fourth quarter, all in clutch time. And so everybody's like, well, he had a bad game, but he did what he needed to do in crunch time. MJ Morris is a guy that you look at and you say, oh my God, he struggled so mightily in this game. I think this was the worst game of his career so far. I have not seen a single game where he as an individual struggled as mightily, because even at Duke, if you watch that tape, the stats were bad. He was putting it on the money. Guys were just dropping. This game, he was legitimately making some very, very rough throws that were supposed to be easy. But when the time came, okay, particularly backed up in the shadow of your own goalpost, the ability to make that big-time throw to Kevin Concepcion to keep the drive moving, the ability to keep that drive moving with your arm and make just mundane good decisions of, hey, I got an open man, I'm going to hit him and keep this drive moving. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal there.
El Paquete de Lobos. We love to see it. All right, guys, let's pay some bills right quick. Of course, you know about Athletic Brewing Company that has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. Their brews are great tasting and award-winning and beat out full-strength beers in global competitions. They're fit for all time, so you can drink them anytime, anywhere, and make any activity more enjoyable. No hangovers ever, and you can find Athletic in-store, online, and at bars around the country. Just go to athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use code LOCKEDON to get 15% off your first online order. That's LOCKEDON at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Near beer, exclusions and conditions apply. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. Kenton Gibbs and I rocking through week 10, and Tyler Van Dyke's had a rough game. El Paquete de Lobos had a great one, but it was at the top for Duke. You know, sometimes their special teams hasn't always been one you can count on, but this time was a little bit different. Shout out to the Blue Devils for picking up a big win in the Nerd Bowl against Wake Forest this past Thursday night lights to start us off on a good one. But let's just say Duke still has a long way to go to get me my 10 wins.
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure if it's going to happen, but, you know, a long way to go. However, for Wake Forest, you said they needed how many games to get to 15?
They needed their 8. They needed 8 wins to get to 15 on the season, because I was 15 in their 2-year window, which is what they've done over the past, I want to say 7 years. Each 2 years they get to 15, which means that they would have to win out and win a bowl game, which is, I don't see them beating Notre Dame and NC State and Syracuse and win the bowl game. It's tough.
Beating Syracuse for sure.
Beating NC State, actually. Beating NC State. NC State has not won in Wake Forest in, I want to say, 20 some odd years or something like that. It's been a while. It's been a very long time.
Not impossible, but certainly difficult. For Duke, however.
You were on campus getting your master's last time they beat them. It was a little bit ago.
Let me tell you if I went to that game. All right. I think for Duke, what's really exciting is they build momentum and they get their confidence back heading into a good, very physical weekend that they'll have this coming Saturday night at Chapel Hill. So I needed that confidence boost.
I'm not sure that game is going to be overly physical, but it is a rivalry game. This is two teams that do not like each other.
That's physical. That's a recipe for physical.
I don't know.
You don't think it's going to get handsy? I've seen it get a little wild.
Okay, I hear you. All I'm saying is I heard that, there's more attacking the locker rooms in that rivalry than it is attacking of each other, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. The reality is very simple. This is a Duke team that was coming off a 2-game skid, to where, all the hopes, all of the things, and you think about with this team, you're now back on track to get Candace's 10 wins, right? Like, if you mess around and win these last games, which are very winnable, these last 3 games, which are very winnable, you beat UNC, you beat Pitt, you beat, who else do they have on their schedule? You beat Virginia. Now you're looking at 10 wins off a bowl game potentially, which is a really great thing for you. And at the end of the day, Wake Forest offensively, they put up their best shot. They did much more than you thought they would have done against this defense. But at the end of the day, Duke did just enough offensively to get this thing done.
And sometimes that's all you need, Henry. That's all you need.
But playing with a third-string quarterback, what are you expecting? This is not. If you can get a win out of your true freshman third-string quarterback, the boy was slow dancing at prom.
It wasn't Henry. It was Grayson Loftus, which, I was tracking the Henry joke. But Henry is on brand for we call Henry the struggle quarterback. That's the universal name.
Both of these boys are struggle quarterbacks. Both of these boys are, with all due respect, I give Duke all their credit for turning this program around. Elko all the credit for turning this program around in such a short time. The reality is that team without Riley Leonard, totally different team. I think Jacquez Moore and Jordan Waters are going to have their work cut out for them for the rest of the season. I think that D-line is going to have the work cut out for the rest of the season. But more importantly than that, I wouldn't get too down about having a third-string quarterback, because North Carolina seems to struggle with people that they don't have film on. So, never impossible. So we all voted for Duke, Candace, Kenton, and the fans. Yep.
NC State was Candace and Kenton. Mm-hmm. Miami was the fans, just so we're keeping tabs here, make sure everyone's good. Mm-hmm. Let's get to this Boston College game, which every one of us were high on Boston College, and for good reason. This is just it really is a sad exit for your boy Dino.
This was the most Big Ten ACC game that I've ever seen in my life. For Christ's sake, just nasty, just slow, just bored, And here's the question, okay? I think that Syracuse still has some things to play for this reason. Their remaining teams on the schedule are Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest. Those are not.
Do they need to win to get to a bowl? They're
two.
already well, two.
They got to win 2. So
it's not impossible.
And that's the crazy part about it. This team could realistically have a 5-game losing streak in their record and still win 8 games potentially. This Syracuse team has a lot in front of them, but honestly, this Boston College game, we break it down to one thing. I think that we can make this one sentence review of this game. Mm-hmm. One team had Thomas Castellanos, the other team did not. The other team did not. Schrader might have been able to win this game, but I mean, the quarterback that Syracuse had in, we need to make sure that he's not colorblind because he just kept throwing to the wrong team, and I was very confused. I said, young man, the white jerseys are the opponent. You don't want to throw it to them. You want to throw it to the orange jerseys. He didn't listen to me. So, it was
people rarely do, Kenton.
Very tough time. Tough time for them. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I'm sure that over time, Carlos Del Rio Wilson will be better. But, man, that game was, in the words of the Grinch, stank, stunk.
Let's talk about a game that didn't stink, stunk.
Yeah.
Clemson and Notre Dame. Funny enough, I said playing in Death Valley was going to be challenging for anybody. This is a team back against the wall, probably pissed off that people coming for their coach, probably pissed off because they know they're better than their record reflects. And the fans said, nah, Notre Dame, they got this. Easy money. This is a different Clemson team. All I'm saying is when y'all cock your heads and be like, Candace, you pick these upsets, don't be so quick to turn me away.
In the words of Drewski, you got me. Hey, you got it. You got it. Clemson, they did their thing, and I'm sure that Dabo going to be on his radio show talking about how you like that, Tyler, since that's how he says the name Tyler now. But very seriously, Phil Maffa is a very special talent. And I've said this all along. Number one, they need to stop lying about his weight on the roster because that boy is not 235. But even beyond that, he is really special. They ran the ball and dominated up front. And here's the thing. When we looked at this game the last time they played where we said, oh, my God, did Notre Dame break Clemson? Why did we say that? Because Notre Dame out-physicaled them up front. They just bullied them around and did what they wanted to up front. And in this game, it was the exact opposite. Clemson dominated the line of scrimmage. And then in the second half, Sam Hartman, brother, do we need to put out an APB for you? Because you was missing. Do we need to put out a bolo? You look kind of young. Do we need an Amber Alert? What we got?
But here's the thing. Clemson defense is used to Sam Hartman, right? So they're used to playing him at Wake Forest. They're used to familiar with his game, if you will.
Yeah, very much so. Very much.
This Clemson defense needed a confidence boost in the world. And I don't even think they needed a confidence boost. They just needed a reminder. They needed a man in the mirror. Let's remember who the F we are type of energy. And that's certainly what they brought. I mean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Barrett, they all did what they needed to do to really just hammer home the point that Clemson is not podunk and don't feel bad for them. This isn't a game where we should be clapping them on the back because frankly, they should be in the conversation. So they finally did something that we're like, well, duh. Yeah, this is Clemson. I don't know why nobody should have been surprised by this game.
All I look at is this. At the end of the day, Cade Klubnik did what I expected Cade Klubnik to do.
He played a good game though.
The story of this game is Phil Maffa. He said, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Kay did better than got to give him a little credit. A little.
I mean, listen.
He didn't.
I will say this. I will say that, and I was just about to say. Normally, he's a quarterback that you have to win in spite of. Right. This game, he was a quarterback you can win with, and that's an upgrade because we all know my 3 categories of quarterback: the one you win because of Caleb Williams status, Drake May status, that type of guy; the one you win with what Cade Klubnik was yesterday. And the one that you have to win in spite of, which is what Cade Klubnik has been at multiple points this season and what Tyler Van Dyke has been this season. Those are quarterbacks you have to win in spite of. You never want to see that. So he was a quarterback that's you can win with him. You can win with him. He ain't going to do nothing special, but you can win with him. So I will give him his credit. But honestly, the name of the game, the story of this game, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. said, I'm stunting like my daddy, 11 tackles, 2 sacks, a pick 6. I'll tell you what, Brother, you earned a hot and ready pizza on me. You are this week's Locked On ACC Player of the Week, brother, because you showed up and showed out from start of the game to the end.
Not you waiting to week 10 decide to have players of the week and not let nobody know. Gosh, you think we would do some pre-game meeting or something. That was on your spirit, though. You should let the boy know.
Hopefully the fans have picked up on the fact that the player of the week is always the player that's on the graphic at the end of the episode. That's the player that's the player of the week every week.
Candace is figuring that out. You know what? You can get so much past me. Crazy.
Lord have mercy.
Truly crazy. As I mentioned, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. Go to LinkedIn Jobs to help you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Kenton Gibbs and I rolling through week 10. We talked about the big ones. Let's talk about ones that were gimmies. And the 59-7 victory for North Carolina was certainly a gimme. You got to have some of your young guys get in there and get big wins. Started out 7-7. I almost had a panic attack. I was like, because come on, cannot be serious. But quickly, North Carolina realized who they were, which is, thank God, stuffed the run, all the things, never let Campbell get back into that game, and finished it. Got a little confidence boost, which, like, cool, cute. However, this one, I hope this is going to be the test for me this week. But this was a nice, I guess you can call it pick me up, have to play. Glad it was week 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, UNC's got a massive stretch coming up in terms of their, not just their, national aspirations in terms of potentially getting to a New Year's Six Bowl and all that. This is also going to be big from just a program standpoint. And, what type of program are you? Because at the end of the day, this is a situation where you have one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in program history. You have a backfield that is getting it done more often than not this season. And, I mean, the defense is a defense. We've already talked about that. This game here was a needed interlude before they go into an absolute grinder to finish this season out.
Agreed. We all picked UNC, thankfully so. When it came to Georgia Tech and UVA, though, I was a little high on the Hokies. Not the Hokies. Why did I say that? The Cavs. See, I'm getting my Commonwealth mixed up. I was very high on the Cavs.
Oh, both Commonwealth teams, they showed us who they were this week. But we can talk about the Cavs first. We can talk about the Cavs first.
Just in case we got confused about the Commonwealth being close to the bottom, we had a little reminder. Georgia Tech, do your thing, 21, do your thing. 45-17 victory for the Yellow Jackets away on the road at that. Fool's gold. I don't even say it was fool's gold because we know what Virginia has been this season, but I can't decide if I'm too high on Georgia Tech right now or I should still be mellow about them.
I mean, I think that Georgia Tech has kind of shown us who they are, right? They're a team that when Haynes King is taking care of the ball, they can do some special things, but the biggest deal in terms of Georgia Tech is always, how do you finish these games out?
Yeah.
That's the reality. That's where they'll live and die. That's where you'll look up and say, oh, yeah, could they upset Clemson next week? That's the question. Can you finish a game out? And what goes into finishing a game out is not only their ability to run the ball, but it's also their ability to stop the run that's going to be important. And in this one, this was a wire-to-wire domination pretty much, or not wire-to-wire, but after the first quarter where Virginia had that lead, Georgia Tech just opened it up in the second quarter. They go in the half up 24-10, and they never let their foot off the gas after that. So, this is a situation where at the end of the day, I'm not really too surprised by by how Georgia Tech beat UVA. UVA showed improvement and all that, but at the end of the day, they are who they are. They just don't have the horse in the stable at the moment.
That's fair. Let's talk about another one that was quick and easy. Didn't need to waste too much time. Florida State and Pitt, right? At this point, like I've reiterated, we need Florida State to win, and we need them to win for the rest of the season. For the sake of the conference, we need them to do their big one.
Well, if Florida State is doing it for the conference, if they're doing it for Lil Saint, they did what they needed to do, okay? They left, no doubt. They didn't give you any room to say, are they really that good? Is they really the team?
It's known for upsets, blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah, well, they known for a whooping this time. They known for a real bad whooping because Florida State whooped the wheels off them boys. And I'm gonna tell you what, again, like I said, Florida State is reaching. They're just about at that boogeyman territory where it's like, man, every time you see Florida State on that schedule, you can go ahead and hey, we're not gonna beat this team. That's just not what's gonna happen for us. And it's so interesting because at many points this season, they didn't look like that. At many points this season, you thought to yourself, oh man, against that Boston College team where it was too close, against that Clemson team where it's like, oh, if you knew what Clemson was going to become. But now they're handling their business. And even though this wasn't the prettiest win, even though this wasn't a game where, they necessarily lit up the scoreboard or whatever, they did what they needed to do and pretty much controlled this game throughout.
You don't always need pretty wins as long as you get wins. That's what makes good teams great.
And they're officially in the ACC title as well. So
they are.
That's out the way.
100%. So it's all about who's going to play Florida State, which I think could be this next team, Louisville, who beat Virginia Tech 34-3. Louisville looking great, right? It's just a matter of finishing out the season, finishing strong.
Yeah.
Which I don't foresee them, jacking it up. They don't have, they play Kentucky, so they don't have too many more conference games left. But I could see a Florida State Louisville game. I'm cool with that.
I want to say this. For as much as people are going to say pile on Virginia Tech here, this really was a really excellent game by Louisville. It really was. Don't get me wrong.
Great team right now. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Were they perfect? No. Of course they weren't perfect. But they did some damn good things in this game. Like, at the end of the day, when you look at this game and you say to yourself, oh, man, if you're going to have a game where Joe R. Jordan is not at full strength or not rolling, and then you see a guy like Isaac, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I'm going to try it, Guerrero, go for 11, 146, and 3 tutties. You see Jack Plummer go 11 of 12 through the air. Hey, listen, you got to get this team their respect. They made it difficult.
Had one of them ones.
Exactly. I told you you're going to need some elite games on them. But you saw a team that Kyron Drones was shut down. Tootin was shut down. It was just a tough day for Virginia Tech all in all.
It's 2 teams from the Atlantic going to end up in the ACC championship for me, but at least it's different, and I'm okay with that. I think that's what makes me still excited about the divisions opening up. But needless to say, it's time for the graphic because we picked Louisville, we picked Florida State as a whole group. Yeah. So where are we at? Let the people know.
Alrighty. So, this was a really good week for everybody. Let's start there, okay?
Let's give a hand clap of praise.
Exactly. This was not a week where we could point at anybody and say you let the whole team down. Candace and I both went 7-1 this week. Everybody crossed over into the 60-win threshold at the same time, by the way. Clap it up for that, everybody. But we've got Candace going 7-1 this week, 62-25 overall. The only game that she got wrong this week was picking UVA, which I don't know why you'd ever pick them. He didn't even know that. And then you've got me also going 7-1. And I'm going to tell you, if it wasn't for that bad man on the graphic, the ACC Player of the Week, which Candace apparently didn't know, even though every week when I make this graphic, I say, who was the best player in the ACC this week? But that's neither here nor there, which puts me at a grand total of 65-22. And the fans went 6-2. You know what I mean? So it fell back a little bit.
Picking Miami was crazy, but go ahead.
Hey, listen, they didn't think it was crazy. Now look at them. I can't wait to do these power rankings. I can't wait. I know y'all going to be devastated, angry, pissed off, and I don't give a rat's behind. But anywho, the totals overall, Candace 62-25. I'm 65-22. The fans are 63-24.
I'm coming.
So
This is a very important week, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Very important week.
There are multiple games that this is going to be one of the more difficult weeks to judge.
100%.
There are multiple games in week 11 that's what do you got going on here?
100%. And I'm excited for that because, at the end of the day, this is going to separate us. This is the week I think that separates, right? You really put all the chips in because week 12, everybody is not playing against a foe that matters in terms of ACC rankings and standings and all the things. So this is the one of one. And I'm just going to sit here and say, you better bring your best, fans. This is the day that I'm asking you to bring this is the week I'm asking you to bring your best, because I'm coming with it. I'm gonna do thorough analysis and pick head to toe. I'm going not winless. What am I going? Undefeated.
Yeah.
There we go.
we got 7 wins we got 7 games on the docket next week.
This is my best week.
I hear you.
I hope it comes back again.
We got 7 Saints. We got 7 games on the docket for next week. So we're gonna see. We got high hopes for everybody this week. We're gonna see.
Love that for all of us. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. Tomorrow, you know what it is. We're going live. We're doing a nightly power rankings. Please get out your feels now. We don't want to hear it. Okay. You thought your team was supposed to be there. You thought your team deserved, but some of y'all just don't. And that's okay too. So prepare yourselves, prepare your minds. Hope all hearts are clear, and we'll make it do what it do. So for Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, until next time.